Welcome to the Deep Dive by 5W Media.
Hey, everyone.
Today, we're venturing into some shadowy corners. We're talking about Colorado.
Colorado. Beautiful state, obviously. Mountains, scenery.
Yes, Clay. Famous for the views, but it's also got this reputation, these whispers of some really chilling tales.
Mm-hmm. Definitely heard a few myself.
Yeah, well, you've let us know you're interested in these kinds of intriguing, sometimes genuinely scary ghost stories. And trust us, Colorado delivers.
It seems to have quite the collection.
Oh, it does. We've gathered accounts from, grand old hotels with spooky reputations, forgotten mining towns where things supposedly still echo.
Right, the classic ghost towns.
Yeah, and even stretches of road that, well, let's just say they're the stuff of local nightmares.
Okay. Sounds like we have a good mix.
So our mission today is to kind of explore these unsettling stories, dig into the history behind the hauntings a bit.
See where they come from.
Yeah, and maybe, just maybe, send a proper shiver down your spine.
All right, I'm ready. Let's dive in. Where do we start?
Okay, well, what's really fascinating is just how many different kinds of places have these stories.
Yeah, it's not just like one old creepy house on a hill.
No, it's hotels that were once really busy, towns that boomed, and then just vanished. Roads that saw tragedy.
It does make you wonder if it's sort of woven into the history, into the land itself somehow.
Absolutely. And where better to start than a place that's not only got its own ghost stories, but also inspired, like, the horror story.
Ah, you must mean the Stanley Hotel.
You got it. Estes Park, the place that sparked Stephen King's The Shining.
Right. He stayed there, didn't he? Room 217.
He did indeed. And apparently his visit was, let's call it memorable.
I bet. The Stanley definitely has an atmosphere. You can kind of feel it. And the stories are pretty compelling.
So what are some of the big ones there? The owners, right?
Yeah. The original owners, F.O. and Flora Stanley, people report seeing them.
Still hanging around?
Seems like it. Mr. Stanley, apparently often seen in his formal wear, likes the billiard room.
Like he's waiting for a game.
Sort of feels that way, yeah. Makes you think, people with strong connections to a place, maybe they leave an imprint.
An energy? Maybe. And then there's the housekeeper, Elizabeth Wilson, from that room, 217.
Ah, yes, that room. What's her story?
Oh, it sounds like she's still on duty. People say she moves things, unpacks luggage.
Unpacks your luggage? Seriously?
Yeah. And apparently she really doesn't like unmarried couples staying in her room. Creates a cold spot.
Wow. Okay. Holding on to old values, maybe. It raises that question, why do certain spirits stick around? Is it the place? Unfinished business?
Strong emotions, maybe. Like her dedication to her job or her beliefs.
Could be. And it's not just figures like her, is it? There's other stuff, too.
Oh, yeah. People report hearing kids laughing.
Yeah.
In totally empty hallways.
Ooh, that's inherently creepy, isn't it? Children's laughter when there are no children.
Right. No matter how you try to explain it away. And then there's the piano.
The ballroom.
Yeah, music drifting from the deserted ballroom late at night. They've investigated, apparently, but
Yeah.
nothing. No source.
That auditory stuff is common, though. Music from another time. It's very evocative. And if you can't find where it's coming from...
Exactly. Adds to the whole mystique.
Then there's Paul, right? In the concert hall.
Yeah. The guy who used to enforce the 11 p.m. curfew.
And people still hear him.
Tours have reported hearing someone just yell, "Get out!" late at night. Like he's still trying to clear the hall.
A spectral hall monitor. Okay.
And for something maybe a bit less aggressive, this is Cowboy.
From 428, yeah. The friendly cowboy.
Friendly. What does he do?
Apparently just stands at the foot of the bed. Which, still probably startling.
Yeah. Friendly or not, that's going to make you jump. But it's interesting, that contrast. Some seem angry, some playful, some just...
It really does paint a picture of maybe multiple energies in one place, each with its own vibe,
Yeah.
The friendly ghost is interesting because usually these stories lean towards the scary.
True. And the hotel leans into it, right? The spirit tours.
Oh, yeah, they definitely embrace it. Nightly tours to the active areas.
A unique vacation activity, for sure. Maybe not for everyone.
Probably not.
Okay, so from the hotel that inspired horror, let's go to a place that became a horror story, in a way. Ashcroft.
Ashcroft, yeah. Near Aspen. A ghost town now, but with a different kind of story. More tied to that whole boom and bust thing.
The overmining, right, in the 1880s.
Exactly. Boomed fast. Got up to, 2,500 people, which was a lot for back then out there.
So what happened? Why is it a ghost town?
Well, a bunch of things. Transport costs were high. The silver wasn't as deep as they hoped.
Competition from Aspen nearby.
Yep. And then the big one, the silver market crash in 1893. That really killed it.
How fast did it decline?
Fast. By 1895, only about 100 people. Post office closed in 1912, maybe 50 residents left,
Yeah.
just faded away.
Wow, that's dark. And the ghosts there,
Yeah.
they're tied to that.
That's the feeling. People report encounters, thinking it's the spirits of miners, maybe guys who died up in the mountains, tough lives, dangerous work.
You can see how that might leave something behind. That connection between tragedy, dangerous jobs, and hauntings is pretty common, isn't it?
It really is, especially mining, sudden violent deaths. Some belief systems say that tethers a spirit to the place.
And there's one specific building in Ashcroft, the View Hotel.
Right, that one gets mentioned a lot. Unexplained noises, weird shadows, just a feeling of unease.
And only 9 buildings left now from 1879.
Yeah, just ruins, really. Which probably adds to the whole atmosphere, that decay, the silence. Makes it easier to imagine things, maybe.
Or easier for things to make themselves known. Okay, so from a deserted town to another spot with a really interesting history. The Hotel St. Nicholas in Cripple Creek.
Cripple Creek, another gold rush town, right? Lots of stories there.
Exactly. But this hotel started as something else. It was built in 1898 by the Sisters of Mercy as the town's first proper hospital.
A hospital first. Okay, that's interesting. Hospitals.
Right.
Lots of intense emotions. Life and death stuff happens there. Often prime spots for ghost stories.
That's a good point. Think about it. Birth, death, sickness, hope, despair, all concentrated. And run by nuns caring for miners and their families during a rough time.
Adds another layer, doesn't it? It became a nursing home later, you said.
Yeah, then restored as a hotel in 95.
Hmm.
And now it's known as, like, one of the most haunted places in Colorado.
So who's haunting it?
Well, there's Petey, a young boy the sisters looked after.
A child ghost. Are they usually playful or
Petey sounds playful. He supposedly moves small things, hides cigarettes.
hide cigarettes? Where?
In the Boiler Room Tavern downstairs, which, get this, still has the original coal-fired boiler from 1895.
Okay, that's a cool detail. Hiding smokes near the old boiler gives him a personality.
Totally. Then there's a more typical one, the miner, seen on the back stairs in the office, tied to the town's past.
Makes sense for Cripple Creek.
And then there's Stinky.
Sinky, seriously?
Yep. A spirit linked to an unpleasant smell near the back stairs.
Huh, that's different. Not your usual spectral presence. I don't know what that's about.
Right. Maybe something from the hospital days, who knows.
Yeah.
But it has a weird sensory thing.
Beyond just sights and sounds. Okay.
And people also report the usual stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Flickering lights, whispers, figures in old Victorian clothes.
Objects moving on their own.
Yeah, that too. But the general vibe seems to be more mischievous than menacing.
Like Petey. Playful ghosts. Maybe a slightly less terrifying stay than some places.
Maybe. But Cripple Creek itself, the whole town seems buzzing with activity.
Yeah, beyond just St. Nicholas.
Oh, yeah. Buffalo Billy's Casino. There's supposedly a little girl ghost there, makes drawings appear, moves glasses around.
A kid ghost in a casino. Weird combo. Sounds like poltergeist stuff.
And the Colorado Grande Casino has Maggie.
Maggie. Redhead, Irish, turn the century, likes the slots.
That's her. They even named the restaurant and the Players Club after her. Maggie's.
They embrace it then.
Totally. Legend says they even caught her on security camera playing slots once, but the footage just vanished from the safe.
Ooh, vanished footage. Always good story amplifier. Makes it more mysterious.
Right. Then there's the Imperial Hotel. Bit darker story there.
Okay, what's the deal with the Imperial?
Owned by a guy named George Long and his wife Ursula, who is also his cousin.
Okay.
They had a daughter, Alice, who apparently had some mental health struggles, and they supposedly locked her in the basement.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah. The story goes she eventually got out and, hit George with a cast iron pan. Killed him.
Wow. Heavy stuff. So they haunt the place.
People hear scratching, knocking, and George just said to haunt the hotel, but in denial about how he died. Still thinks Alice didn't do it.
Whoa, that's tragic. Denial beyond the grave. That really speaks to how intense human drama can get tied up in these stories.
Definitely. The trauma of it all. Even the old jail in Cripple Creek is supposedly haunted. Spot out front where bloodstains supposedly reappear and vanish.
The whole town sounds like a paranormal hotspot.
Pretty much. Okay, let's leave the buildings for a bit and hit the road. Gold Camp Road near Colorado Springs.
Gold Camp Road used to be a railway line, right? To Cripple Creek and Victor.
Yep. 3 tunnels, the one collapsed. And it's got a big haunted reputation, usually tied to accidents.
The school bus story.
That's the main one. Chilling story about a bus full of kids dying in a tunnel collapse.
Yeah, I've heard versions of that legend. Do people report things related to it?
Oh, yeah. Hearing kids laughing or playing when no one's there.
Creepy.
And the really weird one, People stop their car in neutral in the second tunnel
Mm.
and feel like they're being pushed.
Pushed by the ghost children.
That's the story. Some even say they find tiny handprints on their dusty car windows afterwards.
Okay, the handprints. That's unsettling. That's the kind of specific detail that makes these stories stick.
It really is. Then there's another story, construction worker buried alive when they built the tunnels. His spirit is supposedly still there, too.
So multiple tragedies potentially feeding the haunting.
Seems like it. People also just report feeling watched or touched or pushed. Some even claim to get scratches or bruises.
Yikes. Maybe a road to drive carefully on. Preferably in daylight.
Good advice. Okay, next stop. Manitou Springs.
Manitou. Already has kind of a mystical vibe, doesn't it? Metaphysical shops and all that.
Totally. And it has its own famous ghost story. Emma Crawford.
Ah, Emma. The one who wanted to be buried on the mountain.
Yep, Red Mountain. That was her wish, and they did it.
But she didn't stay there, right? That's the weird part.
Not exactly. Her coffin got moved once, and then, the legend goes, after a big rainstorm, it washed down the mountain right into downtown Manitou Springs.
Washed down the mountain in her coffin? That's bizarre and kind of macabre.
It is. And they turned it into, wait for it, the Emma Crawford Coffin Races, held every year.
They race coffins because her coffin washed downhill. You couldn't make that up.
Seriously.
Yeah.
People, like paranormal folks, still visit her final resting place, which is hopefully more secure now.
Let's hope so. Does Manitou have other haunts?
Yeah, the Iron Spring Chateau supposedly has some mostly harmless spirits.
Harmless. What do they do?
Make weird noises, move stuff around.
Mm.
They even get blamed for spiritual photobombing.
Spiritual photobombing. Okay, that's a new one. Sounds like they just want to join the party.
Maybe. It shows not all ghost stories are terrifying, right? Some are just quirky.
True. A different flavor of paranormal.
All right, let's head to a cemetery. Central City Masonic Cemetery.
Okay. High on a hill overlooking the town.
That's the one. People report weird orbs of light and photos taken there.
Orbs are pretty common in cemetery photos. Controversial, though. What else?
Seeing a figure of a young boy who just vanishes. Fleeting glimpses.
Sad. But the big story there is the woman, right?
The Columbine lady.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super enigmatic.
She appears twice a year in black.
Yep. November 1st and April 5th. Every year she shows up, puts flowers on the grave of a John Cameron, who died way back in 1884.
And nobody knows who she is? Or why April 5th is significant?
Nope. Total mystery. Which is kind of cool in a spooky way. Keeps the legend going.
That regularity, the specific dates, that makes it really intriguing.
Definitely. Okay, another haunted road. Phantom Canyon Road. Pikes Peak region.
Phantom Canyon. Narrow, unpaved. Another old railroad route.
Yeah, exactly. Adds that layer of history again. And its main ghost is pretty specific.
Who is it supposed to be?
A prison inmate.
Yeah.
In uniform. Seen walking along the old tracks.
A prisoner. Why is he haunting there?
Story goes he was executed back in the late 1800s, and his spirit just walks the route.
Wow. A lone figure in prison clothes on a deserted road. That's a potent image.
For sure. And driving through the area, you pass remnants of old ghost towns, Wilbur, Adelaide, Glenbrook. People say just being there feels uneasy, otherworldly.
Yeah, those abandoned places, the silence, the decay. It creates a mood. Feels like the past is right there.
Like the veil is thin, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay, nearly done with our tour, but we have to mention the Hotel Colorado in Glenwood
A
Springs.
grand old place, late 19th century.
Yep. Beautiful hotel, but it has a heavier chapter in its history.
What's that?
During World War II, it was used as a naval hospital. Treated thousands of wounded soldiers.
Over 6,500, I think.
Ah,
And sadly, a lot of them died there.
exactly. Places with that much suffering and loss, they often have stories.
Makes sense. What kind of reports come from the Hotel Colorado?
The classics, really. Strange noises, things moving,
Mhm.
and a woman in white.
The ubiquitous lady in white, wandering the halls.
That's the one. And adding to the vibe, the basement was used as a temporary crematorium during the war.
A crematorium in the basement. For the soldiers who died there. Wow.
Yeah, that's a heavy history for a building to hold. You can see why people think spirits might linger.
Absolutely. The wartime connection, the sheer number of deaths, the crematorium. That's a potent mix for paranormal theories.
For sure. Okay, last stop. And this one has maybe the most ominous nickname, Riverdale Road.
Riverdale. Near Thornton and Brighton. The one they call the Gates of Hell.
That's the one. Sounds like somewhere you might want to keep driving through. Quickly. Windows up.
Yeah, it's got a really intense reputation. A whole collection of disturbing legends.
Like what earns it that nickname?
Well, stories of ghostly bodies hanging from trees. Uh-huh. Reports of demon children, and another lady in white searching for home.
The vanishing hitchhiker type. You see her, offer help, look back, gone.
Exactly that trope. Classic roadside ghost story element.
Any theories why that road is so bad?
Some say it was Native American burial territory that got disturbed.
Ah, the disturbed burial ground theory again.
Yep. Others talk about witches being killed along the road way back when. Some old buildings nearby are rumored to be like cult spots or witch gathering places.
Okay, so dark folklore layered on top. Any actual history?
Well, reports of some genuinely grim stuff, lynchings of slaves back in the day,
Horrific.
and a really terrible story about a family murdered in a house fire, supposedly set by the father who went insane. The ruins of the burned mansion are still part of the lore. Burned his family inside. Oh my God. That's nightmare fuel.
Right, and then there are more modern legends, too, like a phantom Camaro driver.
A ghost car, what does it do?
Supposedly tries to lure people into deadly street races.
Okay, that's specific and creepy. And reports of demon phantom dogs, spectral kids playing by the road. It's like a greatest hits of scary road tropes.
Just everything thrown at one stretch of road. But there's one more, right? The jogger.
Ah, yeah, the phantom jogger. Maybe the most unique one for Riverdale Road.
Killed in a hit and run.
That's the story. And his presence is marked by the sound of his heartbeat.
You can hear his heartbeat. That's incredibly unsettling.
And the warning is, don't let him get close to your driver's side window.
Why? What happens?
Supposedly, if he reaches your window, you die.
Okay. That is genuinely chilling. A very specific, modern kind of terror.
Taps into real fears, doesn't it? The randomness of an accident like that.
Wow. Okay. So, there you have it. Colorado. Stunningly beautiful, no doubt.
Undeniably.
But as we've definitely explored, it's also got this incredibly rich, sometimes deeply unsettling collection of ghost stories.
From grand hotels with spectral guests who never checked out.
To forgotten towns where the past literally echoes.
And roads you might think twice about driving down alone at night.
Exactly. These tales give you a glimpse, maybe, into the unseen layers of the Centennial State.
A different side to the mountain views.
For sure. Well, we hope this deep dive into Colorado's spookier side has sparked your curiosity.
Given you some new places to maybe ponder or perhaps actively avoid.
Right. Depends on your tolerance for bumps in the night. Anyway, thank you for tuning in.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
If you liked what you heard, please do subscribe so you stay up to date with our deep dives. And if you have a second, a like or a share really does mean a lot to us.
Helps us keep digging into these stories. Thanks again.